Hello, everyone. I'm Shantari Skinner, a graduate student at the Queen's University of Charlotte's Knight School of Communication. Today, we will be covering my methods and findings for my textual analysis project in my social creation of organizing course. The focus of my project is managing organizational relationships on Twitter, the Atlanta Housing Justice League. So let's begin with an introduction just to give a little background. Nonprofit organizations engage in advocacy on social media to expand communication efforts and to maintain relationships with constituents. Small scale nonprofit organizations depend more on these channels than larger ones for marketing and fundraising. I used Lettingham's relationship management theory as a framework for the content analysis that I performed on tweets from the Atlanta Housing Justice League's Twitter feed. Social media management systems help organizations to pinpoint strengths and weaknesses within the interactions that they have with the public online. The relationship management theory helps to determine the meaning and depth of these trends in reference to internal and external organizational relations. The exchanges between individual users and organizations implicate the strength of their ties and the potential of these relationships. The Housing Justice League, a nonprofit organization in the city of Atlanta, uses Twitter to garner support from community members to state legislators for their anti-gentrification and affordable housing campaigns. The Housing Justice League's Twitter page displays a series of the most intimate interactions that this organization has with the public online. Nonprofit organizations like the Housing Justice League send out tweets to bring their audiences closer to the action and to advocate for the community members that they represent. So I used these particular research questions to guide my journey with this organization's Twitter feed. 1. How does the Housing Justice League communicate with constituents on Twitter? For example, one-way and two-way communication dynamics. 2. How do the Housing Justice League's communicative practices on this platform connect with the goals of the organization? These interactions can reflect how effectively the organization communicates on this platform. To specify my focus even more, here are the methods that I used to conduct research for this project. I performed content analysis on 50 tweets from the Housing Justice League's Twitter feed between January and June of 2017. I randomly chose these tweets out of a total of nearly 500. I adopted the research strategies of Humphreys to extract and analyze specific details in tweets. So who was targeted, or the tweet subject? What was the topic, or the tweet topic? And what was the narrative style of it, or the tweet style? I would use this to determine organizational context of tweets and how these exchanges promote advocacy and connection to the goals and mission of this particular organization. So let's take a look at the Housing Justice League's Twitter feed to examine a few examples. In the majority of these tweets, specific individuals were targeted in retweets to highlight specific information and interactions. The topic is always concerning the community in regard to reclaiming homes or gathering for events to occupy specific areas that continue to be threatened by gentrification. Content analysis on the Housing Justice League's Twitter account reflected this organization's adoption of the relationship management theory in practice. So, of these 50 tweets I gathered, 23 were just tweets sent out to the public to inform them about upcoming events or to share details about social issues. 24 were retweets from community members who attended events or specified their gratitude and concern to the Atlanta Housing Justice League. There were very few tweet replies overall. It seems that this organization relies on tweets and retweets to maintain relationships with individual users. Organizations such as this one uses Twitter to expand communicative efforts by relying on one-way communication to engage individual users. The Housing Justice League depends on one-way communication to inform and inquire Twitter followers about upcoming events and campaigns. Two-way communication on this platform is dominated by retweets from individual users pertaining to organizational matters and community events. The Housing Justice League promotes goals while seeking the support of community members and political leaders on Twitter. So here are a few implications that reflect the influence of Lettingham's relationship management theory. Nonprofit organizations will develop more targeted strategies to maintain relationships with constituents to improve two-way communication. These organizations will continue to use Twitter to inform and sway the public to engage with organizational matters. These interactions promote participatory behavior beyond social media, encouraging individual users to fulfill tasks to help reach organizational goals. In conclusion, nonprofit organizations use social media to expand efforts for advocacy and to connect with individual users to further organizational causes. These organizations foster relationships with individuals on Twitter to support socio-political strategies. The Atlanta Housing Justice League uses Twitter to engage with individuals and other organizations to promote organizational matters. Larger organizations may not depend on Twitter accounts for stakeholder involvement due to a heavy reliance on one-way communication, but smaller ones use these channels as tools to increase communication, especially during points of contingency. Organizations continue to take advantage of these tools, but their success all depends on how they choose to connect with the audiences that they serve. And here are my resources. Thank you so much for tuning in.